Anton Marcus. And last time out over 2,000 meters, Warren wasted no time with this horse, took him to the front, his favorite position, and they were never going to get to him. He beat Silver Rose comfortably. Number 4, Calabash, the current top one. 4 Rand 30 for a win, 1 Rand 70 for a place.
A service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Good morning and welcome to And They're Off here on this Sunday morning. Seth Merrow and Anthony Mormino live in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning. A very good morning to be a horse racing
and right
fan.
here, the brand new logo. I like it. I think it is.
That's good work. That's not a skill I
tailor
have.
made for swag, I think. Cap, T-shirt.
Okay. I didn't think in that realm, but I agree with you. And I will say this: I like the coloring.
Yeah, I like it.
I
don't have that arrow going into my head anymore.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
I do like it though. So, new logo, and we're kicking off this morning with some conversation about yesterday. We will continue with more of that as the day goes along. But yesterday, one of the best performances I've seen in my lifetime, certainly from a horse that Dick Powell agreed on the prior show. You know, this is one of the all-time greats we're watching here. We had the privilege of seeing him up at Saratoga last year, probably in the race that was the race that really unveiled him as a horse with an incredible amount of talent. And, you know, yesterday in Dubai, Arrogate in the World Cup, and we'll watch the entire race here. He's going to be the number 9 horse. And just gets off for a horse that likes to be up and kind of contending early, gets off last. And going into the first turn, I thought, clearly he didn't like the trip or whatever. And the Bob Baffert post-race press conference, Bob Baffert seemed to think, oh, maybe I made a mistake bringing him over. And Bob said he kind of shifted his attention to Opportunity because he was kind of writing off Arrogate a little bit.
Could have told Bob in his ear, never bring your attention to Opportunity.
And as we watch the replay, you will see the backstretch. They kind of have that running video from the car that's on the inside, and then they go to a head-on. But you see that Arrogate is sitting way outside. So not only is he in the back of the pack, but he's way outside. And it's just, it's an incredible performance. We're going to watch it here and have the audio as well. So we'll pull up the replay of the race and we'll come back on and talk about it right after. But again, Arrogate's going to be the number 9 horse. The horse that I was interested to see, Gunrunner, is going to be the number 5. He puts in, I think, a great performance, but just gets beat by an all-time great. So here's yesterday's Dubai World Cup.
Shane Ryan has the button. Gates fly, they're racing in the Dubai World Cup, and Gold Dream slow to move, and Arrogate is last. At the end of the first 100 metres, Arrogate last as they charge down to the judge the first time. Long River has swept to the lead. Gunrunner is second past the judge, Neolithic third. Multahidge from the wide gate will slot in on the fence. He's fourth on the turn out of the straight. A length and a half for Wardee on the inside of Special Fighter. 2 lengths away, Apollo Kentucky. Furia Cressada deep move up in the middle. A length to Gold Dream, a length to Opportunity. 1.5 to Arrogate. 2 lengths to Keen Ice, and Lani is 3 lengths away at the tail of the field. Long River takes them down the back of the track. 1,200 metres left to run. The first quarter in 24.8, and Long River showed the way. Led by a half length. Gunrunner second. Neolithic 3/4 of a length away third, and he's 3 wide. Multahidge is fourth. He's away from the fence. He's a length and a half off the pace. Gold Dream is deep. Awardee goes up on the rail, then Special Fighter. Opportunity and move up. Apollo Kentucky. Arrogate's out wide now. He's being asked to improve, but he's still 8 lengths off the lead. Further back, Furia Cressada, Keen Ice, and Lani is a long last. Gunrunner has gone to the front. They've 550 metres left to run, and Gunrunner showed the way. Neolithic's a half length away second. 1.5 lengths to move to Hedge, and here comes the big A. Arrogate on the outside. Gunrunner in front of Neolithic, but Arrogate swoops up on the outside. America's King Croesus of horse racing went to the front. 200 metres left to go. Arrogate has drawn away from Gunrunner. A is for Arrogate. A is for Absolute Superstar. A is for Anointing. Have we seen the anointing of the man of war of the 21st century? Arrogate, a brilliant winner of the Dubai World Cup from Gunrunner and Neolithic. Then move to Hedge. Keen.
And again, it's just a wow performance. As they came out of the gate and went into the first turn, you thought, okay, it's not his day, even down the backstretch. And again, you saw that head-on shot where he was so wide, you thought, not so much. But Anthony, as they were on the turn and he starts to make the move, at that point you think, oh, okay, we're gonna see a pretty good performance here.
No, but often many people think that they flatten out. They've put in too much. They've displaced too much energy already. What I liked here was he changes leads flawlessly, which horses don't do when they're tired. He wasn't tired. It was super great. I was grateful that my son and I watched the race together. I will say this: when they didn't run away from him, and you could see that he had gotten his cadence on the backside. My son said, "Dad, do you think he's going to win?" I said, "Only if he's super great," and he is. And I think that as a person who woke up Sunday morning after the Travers saying that if he had gone another quarter of a mile, he would have shattered Secretariat's 224 for 1.5 miles, and Matt Graves didn't quite agree. He's not tired now. As a pace guy, these are super athletes. And really, at this level, Spectacular Bid, Ghost Zapper, and him. I mean, I love Seattle Slew as my favorite racehorse, but I was 13 years old. But as physical specimens, putting in these performances under enormous conditions, it was, and I knew what would happen, Seth, and this is always my argument about Personal Ensign, including her Hall of Fame trainer. Her best performance wasn't the Breeders' Cup Classic that everybody saw. Even Mr. McGahee says it was her Frizette. My point being, in America, if it's not the Triple Crown, nobody sees it, and I believe that fervently. So I went out and bought the newspapers today.
No, I'm
the greatest athletic event in our sport, and this was a topic I was hoping maybe when you get back from Florida that things like that cannot happen. And it's the metaphysical question. If a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound if no one hears it? It was great. I say this all the time about all athletics. How good are you when things don't go your way? Seattle Slew in the Kentucky Derby, Arrogate yesterday, where you have every excuse to lose, and it never even pops up in the equation. I thought it was great. It was probably one of the 2 best physical performances I've seen in racing in my adult lifetime. I mean, and it's one time, Seth, I would be interested in the figure makers, what they have to say. I did see someplace on Trackist or our friend, what's his name? Where he actually is very polite. He follows me on Twitter now. We go back. Craig, is it Mikowski?
CJ, yeah, Mikowski.
Yeah, he put in that with the lost ground and everything that you talked about. And I kind of thought that Smitty didn't want to take kickback for a mile. He was like, I'm not taking that much. And you can see, just as the camera angle
because he's about 6 wide there on the back stretch.
Smitty decides, I've taken the overland route around the first turn. It doesn't matter if you're the overland route when the line is straight, but he's completely unwilling to take the overland route on the second turn, no matter how good Arrogate is. He ducks inside figuring, I'm only taking kickback for 1/8 of a mile because I'm passing these horses. And I said to our friends that put this show together, and I always tell people about the guys who put this show together, they could do this show if Seth and I didn't show up. They love horse racing. I am of this opinion, Seth. He could have gotten the lead whenever he wanted to, and Smitty decided to let him relax. It was great.
Oh, post-race press conference, Mike Smith says,
yeah.
once I got him going, he was going.
Right.
But he said, I didn't want him to get the lead
Right.
too early.
That's
because,
why
because
I said
then
to my son, who's 10, I said, I'm not worried. This is the first time I've seen a horse in last place who shouldn't be there. I'm like, I'm not worried. And on the downside, not only the lack of news reporting, is 3 the high water mark for number of races we have left with him?
Well, that's going to be the big question mark. And the post-race press
my only
conference is
question.
available on YouTube, and it's worth watching. It's about 11 minutes, but Mike Smith makes the comments he made, and Bob Baffert was clearly emotional afterwards. And I think they both realized this was an incredible special performance. Smith said probably the best performance he's been on board for, and that includes races like Zenyatta had, and he mentioned her a number of times during the press conference. But Baffert said, well, now the horse deserves a little bit of a rest. And it's like, ooh, okay, what does that mean at this time of year? But don't forget, he had the Pegasus so far this year and now the World Cup. So it's understandable, but this is a horse.
2 more races?
This is a horse with
Pacific Classic, Breeders' Cup, and we'll call it a day.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how it works out as far as the career at this point. We'd love to see him as many times as possible, being as special as he is. And
Does anybody ask Baffert who he'd take at level weights, American Pharoah or Arrogate? It's the only question that matters to me. And I'm telling you what, and this is where the sport and we diverge. If it doesn't happen in the Triple Crown, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, and
For those not paying attention.
And Baffert made that kind of comment too. He said, I wanted to come over here because we didn't get in the Classics last year, and so he hasn't gotten that kind of push, and so he wanted to take the 2 shots he took this year. He said he asked the folks behind the horse, what race would the owner really like to win? Breeders' Cup Classic, so that's on the agenda. He said they'll work back for that. We'll see how it goes. Also on the card yesterday, wanted to touch just quickly before we go to the break, the UAE Derby. We'll watch the stretch run here just because both of these horses now have potential to go to the Kentucky Derby. Epicharis, the number 10 horse, was the Japanese runner who came in undefeated. 4 for 4, though, only. Lightly raced, and Epicharis is going to take the lead here and look pretty good, holding off number 13, Thunder Snow. Thunder Snow, though, will just catch him. Thunder Snow's a Godolphin runner. They made this horse a late nomination just a few days ago for the Triple Crown. Had started the career in Europe and won the UAE 2000 Guineas earlier at this meet. And as you can see, Thunder Snow just at the wire gets up over Epicharis. So again, you have a European-based runner for Godolphin and the Japanese runner. They both are eligible to get into the Kentucky Derby. It'll be interesting to see if one or the other or both show up, because in this year where nobody on the American side has really stepped up, it'll be interesting to see what a potential foreign invasion might do.
I was just thinking about this because you are the standard bearer for this. I think it's very reasonable Arrogate goes into the Hall of Fame with single-digit number of North American races.
Given what he did, it's hard to.
He's in. I said this yesterday. He's in. This is the Ghost Zapper argument for me. Did you see him run? But Thunder Snow just kept coming and coming and coming. A mile 3/16. I thought it was a good effort.
That's worth noting. It's a mile and 3/16. So they've already had essentially the Kentucky Derby distance to boot. So it'll be interesting to see if the connections for the. I'm guessing that they're both kind of tilting towards the Kentucky Derby, but we'll see. And finally, just before we go to the break, I also wanted to show the stretch run to the Golden Shaheen because it was an American runner. It's the sprint over there. It's the main track sprint race. And obviously, given American racing, we typically might have an edge in this race over there, and that was the case on Saturday, yesterday. Mind Your Biscuits, the number 14 horse, comes in off a second place finish in the Gulfstream Park Sprint. Had won the Malibu just prior to that, run third in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. So obviously a top quality, top quality runner, but gets it done in here in the Golden Shaheen. So you would think again a absolute player in the sprint division over here this year. You would imagine we got it done over in Dubai.
Very impressive. $2 million. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it was a nice night, highlighted clearly by Arrogate. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll shift our attention. Joe Christofek, he was at Turfway yesterday. We'll get some thoughts on the spiral and more. All of that right after this. Stay tuned.
You're watching And They're Off on the OTB TV network.
It actually makes sense.
Is your favorite track in New York City, but you live upstate? At Capital OTB, Aqueduct and Belmont Park are closer than you think. With more than 60 easy bed and branch locations throughout the region, you're just a short drive from dozens of tracks across the country and around the world. For a complete list of all easy bed and branch locations, visit capitalotb.com. Capital OTB, we're closer than you think.
It's official. OTB TV is heading south to Gulfstream Park for this year's Florida Derby. We'll be broadcasting live from the paddock Friday, March 31st and Saturday, April 1st. Brian Addo and I will be handicapping the day's races, and later on we'll have interviews with the top trainers and jockeys. I'll also be welcoming some very special guests to the set. That's Friday, March 31st and Saturday, April 1st, right here on OTB TV.
Hey race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
No matter where in the world you are, the excitement of wagering on horse racing is just a click away. CapitalOTB.com offers live streaming, past performances, race replays, our virtual tote board, analysis and selections from professional handicappers, and a simple, safe, and secure wagering platform. And best of all, you get track prices. Going on now, it's Bet 50, Get 50. Simply open a Capital Bets account, bet $50, and get $50 cash back. CapitalOTB.com. Log on today.
Not at the track and not near a computer? No problem. Wager with Capital OTB's Touch-Tone wagering system and you'll never get shut out again. Capital OTB's Touch-Tone wagering system is quick, simple to use, and guarantees your wagers are accurate and placed on time. For more information, visit capitalotb.com or call Capital OTB's customer service hotline at 800-292-BETS. Capital OTB's Touch-Tone wagering system. Never get shut out again.
Welcome back to And They're Off on this Sunday morning. Seth Merrow and Anthony Mormino in the studio, joined now via phone by Joe Christofek from Turfway. Good morning, Joe.
Hey, good morning. How you guys doing?
Very good. And before we get to Turfway, you and I and Anthony were talking during the break about Arrogate and Dubai. Give your thoughts on that performance yesterday.
Yeah, I think it's the same thoughts as everybody else. It was incredible to see. Didn't think after the gate break necessarily that it was possible, given the trip that Gunrunner was getting and given the quality of that animal and how good he is right now. And we were talking in the break too, when that track is dry, it's very forward, and I think the fact that there was some moisture in the track certainly didn't hurt Arrogate's ability to do what he did. But man, I don't think that horse is from this planet. It was just every time you think you've seen the best of what he can do from the Travers or the Breeders' Cup Classic to the World Cup, he outdoes himself, so now we can just hang on and wait to see what he does next.
Joe, I feel bad for this because Gunrunner just will be as forgotten as the horse that finished second to Secretariat. I mean, they had to walk out thinking, what a great first two races to a handicap campaign, and they run second yesterday. Oh, he ran big, but he just ran into a monster.
$2 million's not a bad consolation prize.
I forgot about that angle. You're absolutely right. Great point,
all the
Joe.
way to the bank. And I'm curious, was there a lot of people huddled around the simulcast TVs at Turfway yesterday for the World Cup?
Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody that had a possibility to be near a TV was, and everybody had the same wow, spine-tingling reaction from it. And, you know, it's just something that you'll never forget.
No.
You'll talk about as a racing fan, and it's just, he's the all-time leading money earner in just, 7 7 months.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah.
It's a crazy day and age, but those big purses with the Pegasus and the Dubai World Cup are keeping these horses in training. So there's some merit to that.
And just before we move on to the Turfway races, as we were talking during the break, you said you were at Turfway yesterday, but you've been at Dubai the last few years. And I'm just curious, as somebody who's been to Dubai, I'm always curious as to what the experience is like to go into a racing facility, a racing venue, and a nice one to boot, but there are no betting windows.
Yeah, that's the first thing I talk about when people ask me about the race day experiences. Very similar to here, where everyone's dressed up. It's a great atmosphere. There's a buzz. But when the races are actually running, you don't see people slapping their thighs with the program. You don't see people yelling and screaming like they would at, on a typical Friday at Aqueduct. I mean, it's a different kind of atmosphere in that regard because, the vast majority of the people in the crowd don't have a personal wagering interest. I mean, there's owners, trainers, and people involved with the horses that have a significant interest with all that purse money. But, it's a little different vibe in that regard.
Yeah, I imagine it has to be. All right, let's get to Turfway. Before we get to the races, give us a little overview. We were talking beforehand. Nice weather, good crowd on their big day?
Yeah, I mean, they got very fortunate. We had good weather. I've been here doing the television signal Thursday night, Friday night, and the lead up to the Spiral yesterday, and it was in the 50s and 60s Thursday and Friday, and then it really warmed up, low 70s yesterday with a breeze and great atmosphere, great vibe, and very, very good crowd, energetic crowd, enthusiastic crowd. People dressed up, people enjoying the beer garden, people hanging out by the paddock, typical big race day. And then it started to rain today, and the forecast for the next few days is for rain. So they got in right before Mother Nature unleashed, and that was very, very beneficial because had it rained, it would have been a completely different story.
Nice. All right, let's get to the race. The highlight yesterday, the Grade 3 Spiral, $500,000 up for grabs, mile and an eighth. We'll watch the stretch run here. It'll be number 3, Fast and Accurate, getting it done 24-1. Blue Ridge Traveler at 35 to run 1 second. Number 4, Convict Pike runs third at 10-1. The favorite, Kitten's Cat, at 5-2. The number 8 horse disappoints, running fourth. The winner, Fast and Accurate, comes out of a little turf stake down at Gulfstream. Won that back on February 20th. It's Mr. Hansen, trainer Michael Maker. But what happened in the Spiral with 24-1 over 35-1 over 10-1?
Yeah, then that little stake at Gulfstream was for horses that had started for $35,000 or less. So, there's some restrictions on that stake too. And the horse looked good winning, but he broke his maiden for 30. He looked good winning the turf stake. It's Mike Maker. If you're just betting trainers blindly, obviously he's now won this race 4 times, and you could do worse than getting 24-1 on a trainer like that. But, I didn't like him going into the race. I found it interesting afterwards. Talking to Tyler Gaffalione, he was given the choice whether to ride Fast and Accurate or Enhance, and he obviously chose Fast and Accurate because, he had watched the replays and seen this horse run in Florida, and he personally was impressed by the way the horse was coming into the race. So it's a good choice by him, a good ride by him. His first ever day riding at Turfway Park will be a memorable one for Tyler. And, I like the runner-up. I like Blue Ridge Traveler quite a bit, and if he were to win, he's Triple Crown nominated, and he's got, some really good efforts on dirt. He would have been the Kentucky Derby type horse, but, Fast and Accurate, I really doubt we're going to see him in the Derby. It's an extraordinary amount of money to pay, with the 2 nomination situations already passing by. I think it's $200,000 now to nominate for the Triple Crown for the rest of the way. So, and he's not nominated, so I think it would be a little bit of a shocker if he were to go into the Derby at this point.
I will say one quick thing. I love, by any other name, this Spiral. Joe, I think that's 18 consecutive losing favorites in this race.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, I think General Challenge was the last chalk to win this race, and as you said, I think Mike Maker had a bomb last year. I think it was last year. I'm not sure, but one of the least formful races, which, by the way, I like.
You like it if you're on the right one out of 10 times. No
That's
doubt about
right.
it.
That's my thinking exactly, Joe. It's
A $51 winner yesterday. All right, let's go to the girls in the Bourbonnette Oaks Grade 3 event, $100,000 up for grabs. It was a mile, and it was a little bit of an upset, too. Number 10, Purely Dream wins. Number 9, Awesome Boss runs second at 8-1. Number 3, Dark Wings over Dubai runs third. The favorite, Delphinia, 9-5 favorite, 11th in the field at 12. So the string of upsets was already
All day,
online in the
yeah.
Bourbonnette Oaks.
prices all day.
Yeah, and McPeak runs 1-2 here. I don't know if he was watching it in the middle of the night from Dubai or what, but I like this other horse, Awesome Boss, better. She ran a great race to be second, but Robbie Alvarado just, fits this horse perfectly. He got the horse forwardly placed. He took the lead. He held safe. It was her first run since November. I love Pure Prize on the turf, on the poly track. It's one of my, synthetic horse sire, on my sires list for synthetic racing. So that was at least a benefit in my mind with this horse, but not much else to go on. She's not nominated to the Oaks either, but it's a much lower penalty for not being nominated if you want to jump on board. I think it's $7,500 by April 15th, and then I think you have to pay the $30,000 fee if you're actually in the starting gate. So, given the ownership group, the Living the Dream Racing, I talked to these guys before the race on the elevator, and they're over-the-top enthusiastic. So given, the purse money that they earned here, I would think they would nominate and probably wind up with a spot in the starting gate for the Oaks.
Joe, you got to give up the name of the racing stable if you don't go.
Yeah, no, I
You
would
can't
to
have
say
that
with
name for a racing stable and pass
If
on the
you
Kentucky
got
Oaks.
qualifying points. You got qualifying points for the Oaks, and your stable's named Living the Dream, and you don't go. Yeah,
You take your card away.
yeah.
All right, let's go on just before we wrap things up here. The Rushaway. The Spiral was race 10, the Bourbonnette was race 9, but the long shots were kicked off in race number 8, the Rushaway. $100,000 up for grabs, a mile and a 16th. And the Rushaway, Mount 2, the number 3 horse, wins at 17-1, but completing the exacta, number 1, Capture
ding,
the
ding,
Glory,
ding, ding.
70-1. Another one where the favorite disappoints, Sailing Home at 3-2, winds up 6th in the field of 8, 17-1 over 17-1, 70-1, a $915 exacta. Again, a parade of long shots yesterday at Turfway.
The pick 4 in the later races paid $78,050, and the pick 5 nobody had. It was 4 out of 5. I'm not sure exactly what that paid, but nobody got all 5 on a ticket. This was the most logical of the long shot winners, and I had to make my picks in advance, and I had this horse 4th in the original selections, but going into the race and talking about it in the preview, I liked him more because the horse that he battled for the lead in the Battaglia dropped in class, cut back in distance, and won very impressively. It was either Thursday or Friday night, and that was a fast pace in the Battaglia, and he fought on to the top of the stretch. And at this point, the card speed had been holding up well. And Montu ran a good race. I mean, he ran better than the rest of the competition, obviously. Here, Cool Arrow threw in a dud. You mentioned Sailing Home, very disappointing. You could tell 3 strides out of the gate that he wasn't handling the poly. I mean, this is a horse that's always forwardly placed, that was in the back of the pack. So, the race was ripe for the picking for a long shot, and Montu happened to be in the right place at the right time. And another horse that started for maiden claiming just a couple of races ago.
Oof.
Joe, we appreciate the visit, the thoughts on the Spiral and some of the other stakes at Turfway yesterday. Appreciate the conversation. We'll talk again.
Yeah, Derby points are at a premium now, man, going into these important final preps. So it'll be interesting to see how everything shakes out. It's going to be fun.
Are you tilting in a direction for a Derby horse right now? You have anybody at the top of your list?
I mean, McCracken's been on or near the top of my list the whole time, and I like the way he's been training. But he's got 20 Derby points.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
The Bluegrass is really important for him. I mean, there's other horses that are going to be in some of these final preps. Gunnavera, you've got J-Boy Zecco. There's a lot of horses that already have 50 points. So the races coming up, obviously, purse-wise are important, but points-wise aren't as important. But McCracken's my horse, but I'm not like over the top about anybody at this point. I think it's tough to be.
Yeah, it's been that kind of a year so far. Joe, again, appreciate the visit. We'll talk again.
Okay, cheers. Take care, guys.
Joe Christofek, again, Turfway over this spiral
by the way,
weekend.
been that type of year for everybody but you.
Well,
who
yeah,
are sitting
I have light
in
gun
the
affair.
absolute, like, you're like the cat that ate the canary,
Yeah.
sitting in the catbird seat, the horse going the right way, that has put in 2 good efforts.
None
You
of
have
Aaron,
not
that
had
future
a
pool.
pebble in your way
And
yet.
we'll see
the rest of
we'll
us
see next week.
are a
And
train wreck.
my all others future bet is loading up with some nice horses too. All right, let's jump in quickly with play of the day, race of the day. Our race of the day is Tampa's 4th, which is a $25,000 claimer, a mile on the turf. I went 7, 8, 9, and 1. Both the 7 and the 8 are those kind of horses that just right back. They both won at this 25 level last time, so why not jump up and do it again? Yorkie is 3-1 to 7. I think 8-1 on Dizzy Gillespie, given the performance last time. Now last time was a dirt sprint. That's maybe why we're seeing the 8-1. But I think given that kind of a move at the level puts this horse in the mix again. Racing's my game. Improve when moved to the turf. So I have that one in, and the 1 ran a pretty good number in the lone turf try. So for me, Tampa's 4th today, 7, 8, 9, and 1.
And I'll tell you, I sign up right now for 9-2 on the 1 Western Journey. I love Rock Hard 10 was a very physically imposing and talented horse on the dirt, but he has been a strong turf influence. He's on the bottom side. You have to work your way through only a 5-horse career for Western Journey. You have a dirt race, you have a slop off the turf race, you have a 2-turn dirt race at Gulfstream Park on a good racetrack, but it is a good, solid turf race in between all of it that I really think tipped the hand to the future. They tried to come right back in a turf race. They got it off. I don't know why they went 7/8 most recently, but I love being down inside. I have Ronnie Allen Jr. It's 157, and I will say this, Seth, and I know we're getting near the end of Tampa Bay, but man, the turf course, you look at it, looks like opening day of their meet. They do a tremendous job with that turf course.
All right, the play of the day for me, I'm going to use my play of the day that I used on the website. I handicapped Aqueduct today for the website, and I kind of like the play today. The 6th at Aqueduct, they did a little try-key. I called the race 9, 10, 8, and 1.
I thought you did a try-key. I said, that's my kind of work. Okay, don't worry about the screen. Don't pay any attention to that man behind the screen.
I will.
Seth took Mormino. That's my favorite bet. Type of bet.
I jumped in it with, I called it 9, 10, 8, and 1, and the 4 attracted my attention a little. I think the 9 and the 10 are the 2 best. The 9 is at 6 to 5, so we'll hope that the 10 gets it done at the 7 to 2 morning line. That'll make for a better try. But then I have some prices in underneath. I have 15 to 1 on the 8. I'm getting 10 to 1 on the 4, 6 to 1 on the 1. So again, I think this could offer a little bit of value, particularly if that 10 gets it done on top. But again, we'll put the 9, 10 over,
now,
1, 4, 8, 9, 10.
May I ask you a question? Because
Yes.
I am not. I always ask inquisitive questions about horizontal bet, but trifecta bets I'm in. May I ask why you didn't add more horses for 3rd? You kept the same number, place, and show, which is, I think, rare. And that's this is a bet that I love, and under the theory that more horses can run
you
3rd.
usually, though, have a single on top.
Well, it depends how much I want to bet, right? But this is if you added 2 more horses for show, that would be the Mormino standard bearer race. But you're absolutely right. For audiences and things like that, $54 ticket and a $27 ticket is a lot different for people.
Yeah, it
but
was
I
cost
love the
mainly.
ticket because when you send it over to me, I go, that's my man. And there's no, trust me, he's kicking my butt in these plays of the day. But I think it's interesting you didn't throw in 1 or 2 more horses for show because 2 things. One is almost everybody agrees more horses can run 3rd than can run 2nd. And secondly, I say this about the superfecta, but I can't afford betting the superfecta. To me, it's always the last horse in that can help blow it up for you really strongly. But I love that tick. When I saw it come across, I was like, that's my man. I'm at the fairgrounds. I got to tell you, I love this type of race. It's 4-3-1 for me, and I put a ticket up for these guys. What I like about this is Silver Spun is 8-1 on the morning line, which I like. Now, there is some, it's not a Mount Everest race. It's only 7 horses on the turf. I think I have the right horse. So, for me, I think that's pretty sure that should have been my race of the day, but that's okay. But Silver Spun making the career debut on the turf. Once again, the bottom side is a strong influence to me by Grand Slam. They add blinkers. And one thing I like about short field trifectas, Seth, is if you can get that $16 or $18 horse home, it doesn't take a lot to cover a lot of bases for our audience, and you can get $200 out of the pool. And that now it's only a field of 7, folks. So it's basically a $15 pay for a $1 wager. And to me, I don't think you can chase $6 winners in that type of field size going forward. But a $16 winner, etc. Now, it's a competitive race, and this would be a race I would also say, I wanted this to be a 90-minute show, but you got to make a small win bet on the 8-1 shot. You have to. You just have to. You got to cover your exotic wagering if you're right with a $16 winner. You can't get 0. You can't invest 15, 30, or 45 in the trifecta pool, have a $16 winner, and get 0. Your win bet should supersede the amount you have invested because you have to get rewarded when you have $18 horses.
Okay, I also have a rainbow play, but we'll plug that at the end of the show because we got a guest coming up. So we'll go to a break. We'll come back, shift our attention. Sunland Park, Sunland Derby today. We'll talk a little in preview of that right after this.
You're watching And They're Off on the OTB TV network.
I feel like I should say something smart.
No matter where in the world you are, the excitement of wagering on horse racing is just a click away. CapitalOTB.com offers live streaming, past performances, race replays, our virtual tote board, analysis and selections from professional handicappers, and a simple, safe, and secure wagering platform. And best of all, you get track prices. Going on now, it's Bet 50, Get 50. Simply open a Capital Bets account, bet $50, and get $50 cash back. CapitalOTB.com. Log on today. Face it, most horse racing websites are just too much clutter, too much to navigate through. Next time, log on to CapitalOTB.com. Our newly designed website is easier than ever to use, with all the information the professional horse player needs. CapitalOTB.com.
It's official. OTB TV is heading south to Gulfstream Park for this year's Florida Derby. We'll be broadcasting live from the paddock Friday, March 31st and Saturday, April 1st. Brian Addo and I will be handicapping the day's races, and later on we'll have interviews with the top trainers and jockeys. I'll also be welcoming some very special guests to the set. That's Friday, March 31st and Saturday, April 1st, right here on OTB TV.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
With more than 60 Easy Bet and branch locations throughout the region, you're just a short drive from all the top tracks across the country and around the world. For a complete list of all Easy Bet and branch locations, visit CapitalOTB.com. Capital OTB. We're closer than you think.
Air analyst from Sunland Park. Good morning, Julie.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
We're very good. Very
Happy
good.
to have you on board to talk a little Sunland racing for today with the Sunland Derby, and we'll take a look at that in just a second. But before we do that, give us a little update on what your weather is like today.
Well, I'm still at home getting ready for this afternoon. It's beautiful. I'm not quite sure of the temperatures, but it's clear skies outside. It's been a little breezy the past couple of days, but in the high 70s, low 80s. So
Nice.
we're looking good.
Nice. All right, let's take a little look at the Sunland Derby. Grade 3 event, $800,000 up for grabs. Derby points as well. 9 furlongs the trip. Bob Baffert brings in Bronze Age. Ken McPeak brings in Oxford Lane. Doug O'Neill has IRAP in here. Dilettante comes over from Oaklawn for Wayne Lucas. Total Tap is an Asmussen runner. Conquest Mo Money, undefeated in 3 races at Sunland. I pulled up, however, a replay to look at, going back to a maiden special at Gulfstream on February 4th. The number 10 horse in here is going to be Hedge Fund. It's a Todd Pletcher runner. Only the second career start, the first time around 2 turns. I think Pletcher's always dangerous in these Derby Trail kind of prep races. But boy, you guys have to be thrilled. A nice full field, and all the big names are showing up. What are your thoughts on the Sunland Derby?
I couldn't be more excited. And as I know I can speak on behalf of Sunland Park Management and certainly the staff, all week has been absolutely exciting, but today is the pinnacle of our meet, obviously. And it's like having front row tickets to the All-Star game.
Awesome. I know one thing. Bob Baffert has known Sunland Park's address for a long time, and now more trainers at a high level that we see nationally are making it in. Last year, I think it was last year, right? They had the situation with the quarantine. They bring these races back with the big purse money, and seems to be, I don't know, maybe the finest edition of the Sunland Derby.
I think it is, and it's certainly the fullest field we've ever had with 12.
And again, Hedge Fund comes in, lightly raced for Pletcher. Bob Baffert, lightly raced as well with only 3 starts. Conquest Mo Money. And it seems like in Conquest Mo Money, clearly you've had a chance to see this one a few times. Mm-hmm. Last time out won the Mind That Bird, the Breeders' Derby, and did it to complete a 3-for-3 undefeated career so far. And it seems a lot of times these kind of out-of-town lead-up derbies, the local heroes do very well. What are you thinking for Conquest Mo Money?
Well, I'm a huge fan of Conquest Mo Money, and he has quite a story, They bought him for $8,500 at what I was told was a dispersal sale. So to get an Uncle Mo, a son of Uncle Mo, for $8,500 would be my dream.
Yes.
Anyway. And then we have Miguel Hernandez as trainer. Now, Miguel was a rider here locally for several years. He was injured and stepped into the role of training, and he's making that transition very well. He has Judge Lanier Racing. That's one of our main local owners here. They have many horses with him, and they disperse through a couple of other local trainers too. But the entire story is just so amazing, and I am a big fan of him. He's not a real big horse. He's just a little speedy guy.
And again, he adds some flavor and another storyline to what is a nice full field in the Sunland Derby later on today. But that supports a nice undercard of stakes as well. The Thomas Memorial, $100,000, 6 furlong sprint. This is a nice field as well. Taze on Ice, who has been racing at Sunland over the past couple of starts, but started the career in Southern California and has some back class. Certainly, Rockport Cat comes in for Robertino Diodoro. Quixote for Tommy Amos. But I pulled up, again, a local runner in here who could run very well. I pulled up the Budweiser handicap from February 12th. The number 6 horse is Redneck Humor. Wins off nicely with a 96 buyer, which I think stacks up nicely with the field in the Thomas Memorial today. Tell us a little bit about Redneck Humor, who, as I say, has run the last couple of races at Sunland.
Well, I can tell you this. I've spent a couple of mornings now on the backside this week at the Justin Evans Barn with my co-host who does our Spanish-speaking show, Erica Puentes. We saw Bronze Age get off the van and trailer in over to Justin's barn, so we got to get familiar with Bronze Age over there. He's in Justin's care for trainer Bob Baffert, and at the same time, we got to get to know some of the other horses in the barn. Redneck Humor is one horse that Justin Evans is very confident about.
Oh,
very.
Chances today. It's good to know.
Yeah. Yeah, he was, the hot walker was walking around the barn, and he kept saying, "Don't you guys want to take some footage of Redneck Humor? He's going to win," and he was kind of giving us those little quick, funny, little jabs. But I know Justin well enough to know he was pretty serious about it. He really likes this horse.
All right, we like that. And also on the card today, the Harry Henson handicap, $100,000, 1 mile, the trip. Steve Asmussen brings in Dancetrice. There are a number of horses in a pretty big field that you can make cases for one way or the other. But I thought, again, big name coming into Sunland this afternoon. Todd Pletcher brings in Catsadiva, and we're going to take a look at an aqueduct race, actually, from the middle of February. It is an allowance optional claimer. Catsadiva is the number 7 horse in here, holds on by a neck at 6-1. And off of that, just seems to be in some pretty good form. And you have to note that Pletcher ships in from New York, wintertime in New York, and just on that angle, this horse seems interesting. What are your thoughts on the Henson?
Well, I'm going to take you right back to our local connections.
There you go.
African Rose. She's an 8-year-old mare in the care of Miguel Hernandez, again, for Judge Lanier Racing. She's had such a great career. She's made over $573,000. And she loves this racetrack. And so I'm really partial to African Rose.
And again, on these big days, it does seem like sometimes the local heroes can jump up, and a lot of times at a little bit of a price. So we'll see how that works out today. Julia, we certainly appreciate the visit this morning. We wish you and everybody out at Sunland good luck this afternoon, and we'll talk again.
And thank you very much, guys. Come see us someday soon.
Absolutely. Enjoy I will be there. I absolutely guarantee it, Julie.
Well, look me up.
I will.
Thanks again. And again, good luck this afternoon.
Have a great day, everyone.
Yes. One thing that we see Sunland on the network all the time, it always looks sunny. I mean, absolutely sunny. Not like partially sunny, blaring sunny. And we're tight on time. I didn't want to get into it. I mean to tell you, it reminds me of the spring-summer meet at Hollywood Park where it never wasn't the same day. Who did we have on? We were talking John White the other day.
Right.
Neither of us could remember for 35 years the spring-summer, not the old November meet, but the spring-summer meet. And when you watch Sunland, there's always 2 things I like about Sunland especially. One is the sunburst for the numbers, and it's always bright and sunny. And I didn't know if she thought I was kidding when we said off the air that I'm going, but one of my things is to take our son to all 50 states, and I'm going to a racetrack. If I'm going to New Mexico, I mean, I'll let him see the art culture in Taos, but we're going to the track, and the wife's on board with that. But she sounded like taken aback, like I was pulling her leg. I'm like, within probably the next 18 months, I'm taking Anthony and Denise to Sunland Park. I mean, we're going. It's not a joke. I'm going to be there.
If there's sun all the time, what better place to go, actually. So, again, nice day today at Sunland, highlighted by the Sunland Derby. All right, we'll take another break. When we come back, a few more topics to hit on. All of that right after this. Stay tuned.
I now would be interested to know.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting. Welcome back to And They're Off Sunday morning. Seth Merrow and Anthony Mormino. A little
preview in the last segment of next week's 3-year-old action. Next week, 2 big races coming up, Florida Derby and Louisiana Derby. And a reminder, we, of course, will be down in Florida for the Florida Derby next Friday and Saturday morning. Friday morning will kick off at about 8:30. Saturday morning will kick off at about 8. I take off on Wednesday, so you're in Wednesday and Thursday on Racing Across
Become an
America.
annual ritual for you.
Yeah,
Well deserved.
It's fun and nice. Get down there in some nice weather too. That'll be enjoyable. But just intrigued to know what you may be looking forward to in these races. I, of course, as you kind of alluded to, I'm looking forward to
Another step forward.
Yeah, Gunnevera, and see what Gunnevera does. And we're going to go back here and look at the Fountain of Youth last time. Gunnevera, the number 2 horse here, wins pretty easily in what was the second start of the season. I thought the first start of the season was okay in the Holy Bull, a second place finish. And what attracted me to jump on board this horse in the future pool was that Delta Jackpot win, which ended last year. Javier Castellano on board in the Delta Jackpot, in the Holy Bull, and here in the Fountain of Youth. So clearly, some of the possibles coming up in the
Well, let me have to
Florida
interrupt
Derby.
you. You know what your fear is with Gunnevera on Saturday?
That he runs another huge race?
Yes.
Yeah. No.
That he takes a step forward.
Yeah. But yeah, it is a little bit of a dilemma to kind of figure out. But possibles for the Florida Derby, Gunnevera, 3 rules, Practical Joke, this or the Bluegrass, and we'll see how it works out. But I'm just going to be intrigued to see, if Gunnevera can keep going. But you're right, I may not be rooting for an effort that good.
Well,
although we're so far out.
I thought his
even another, at this stage, Florida Derby is so far out, and this clearly will be the last race.
Yes, in the new era. I think you were. I think his debut race at 3 was far better than you gave him credit for.
I liked it.
I mean, it was.
I thought it was
I
it
thought
didn't bother
it
me
was
by any means.
tremendous. Like that was where I was starting to think, man, your first race you should be able to build on. So it made sense that he did, and I was like, boy, if he continues to build on it, it just reminds you of horses like Orb, who did build on it, and he did get it for the one more race, the big race in the off-going. But, you sent me the list of the possible runners for the Florida Derby, and I was thinking, man, except for Gunnevera, this didn't come up the way I would have thought it would have come up.
Yeah, this is not set in stone or the full.
But what is set in stone, and the way I like it is, the Louisiana Derby they've already drawn for. And I always say this about the game. If the Fairgrounds for their biggest day, which by the way is a 15-race card, and the Louisiana Derby is the 11th race, man, you talk about. But my point being, they drew the race. The PPs were up on Saturday night, maybe Saturday afternoon. I was busy yesterday for a race a week out. Yeah. That's just great customer service. That's tremendous. I know you don't have the saddle cloth, you don't have the morning line odds, but you can get to work on the great card at the Fairgrounds and Louisiana Derby, which is just great.
And I'll also note, we start the 100-point races next week, although the UAE Derby was a 100-point race. Yeah. And it's going to be interesting to see because the last couple of years, 30 points got you in.
Didn't 24 get you in one year? Didn't we look it up one year? 24.
But with the way things have juggled around, I mean, it's like the bubble teams in the NCAA tournament. You want things to play out logically. If things continue to play out illogically, we have 2 next weekend. Then the next weekend, there's the big 3: the Wood, the Bluegrass, and the Santa Anita Derby, and the Arkansas Derby after that. So there's 6 more. With 100 points and 50 for second, I think it is. So there's potentially 12 spots of horses that at the bottom could jump up. Yeah. So you're hoping horses like Gunnevera do run well. And in the Louisiana Derby, Gervin, and we'll watch Gervin here winning the Risen Star last time out. He's obviously the one that's going to attract attention in that Louisiana Derby next week. But clearly, again, if you're sitting now on the list, Gunnevera is number 2 after yesterday. Thunder Snow got the 100 points for the UAE Derby. Gunnevera 64 points. So he's in. So you hope he wins, and then if you're down on the list in those 30s, you hope he wins and then doesn't suck some of the life and jump over you. Gervin's sitting number 6 with 50. he's already in 250. He's going to make it in.
Yeah,
But-
we've sort of figured out that the prep for the preps, the winner gets in, and the runner-up, if they can just get an odd 6 or 7 points somewhere, it separates you from the other people that have round numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really become that type of mechanism where races like the Rebel, the San Felipe, that you win, you're in. If you run second and can get some minor points elsewhere in your career, you're going to get in.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out next week again, to see if some of the logical contenders.
Tremendous
do-
card at the fairgrounds. So I already
Yeah,
took
yeah.
a cursory look, which they
It typically.
yeah. Because for them, they have a great series where they wrap up the Phillies, obviously. They have the Turf Series they wrap up. They have the Handicap Series they wrap up. It's really well
And
mapped
I will
out.
say, Jeremy Plonk the last couple of weeks has been high on the fairgrounds 3-year-olds, and the way that's played out this year. So we'll see Louisiana.
Well, they
Derby.
gotta come from
Did
somewhere.
Did we see the Risen Star? I'm not hearing anything. Oh,
Well-
yeah. When I was talking about Gervin. But no,
That
no,
was
now,
the cue.
yeah, now we're fine. I'm going to move on.
We're gonna move on.
Yeah, I'm going to move on because
Dump it.
We're running out of time. But take my word for it. Gervin won the Risen Star, and it's going to be again the one that the folks further down the list hopes runs well again on Saturday. So sucks the 100 points for a horse that's already going to be in. You don't want horses leapfrogging you, but we'll see if the chaos continues next week. All right. Before we do anything else on the quick hitters. I just want to toss out there my Rainbow Six play for this afternoon. And it's a $48 and change ticket. I said it when I talked to Dick Powell a little bit earlier. Luckily, he kind of gave me a little bit of confidence because I have one single on the ticket. I don't like this single in the last leg, but it's just I looked and played around and I had to do it. But he made that 4-horse one of his best bets, so that added a little confidence for me. So we're 3 by 3 by 3 by 3 by 3 by 1. Again, it's a $48 ticket. I kind of feel okay about the ticket. Last couple of days, it's certainly been interesting down there. Yesterday with the $200 winner. This was amazing.
This tells you, in my opinion, a lot of what you have to know with the 20-cent bets.
And I'll note there on the screen, the horses in parentheses are horses you can pull in case of scratches. So just keep that in mind as well. But yesterday, the sequence kicked off with a $200 winner. The 10th
Was anybody eliminated?
The 10th choice in the field of 10. After that first leg, there were still 40,000 tickets alive. But as I said to Dick, they put $1 million into the pool yesterday. That means that there was
5 million,
5 million
combinations.
tickets. So this is less than 1%, but it still seems
But it's
like,
still 40,000 people.
Yeah, an incredible
Tickets.
Yeah, an incredible number that just was still alive after that $200 horse. But I said to Dick, I may be thinking of it from another angle because I'm chasing the consolation. I'm chasing the 800 to 1,200 or 1,500. But clearly, there are people who are trying for the single ticket. And if you're trying for the single ticket, then you're going to have some crazy horses. So that
Do you prefer singling? Are you less worried singling the first leg or the last leg?
I like
I
like to single early, just so if it's going,
Sanity?
I know. But again, with the $200 horse, after the first leg, 40,000 tickets were alive. After leg 2, there was still almost 7,000 tickets alive. After leg 4, 570, and after leg 5, going into the last race, there was 87 tickets alive, no singles, which I found kind of amazing.
Well, a 10 by 10 by 10 is $200, right?
And then single 3?
Well, I'm just saying, just to start the ball rolling.
Yeah.
A 10 by 10 by 10, you're at $200. These guys, there are probably people putting in
Yeah,
8,000.
Well, there's the big guys who are not kidding around. And yesterday, again, the $200 horse, 10th choice in a field
You
of
hit
10.
it so often, aren't you those guys yet?
No.
Okay,
no,
all right.
no.
Just checking.
The second leg, it was the second choice. The favorite won the third leg. Second choice won the fourth leg. Third choice, the fifth leg. And the last leg was the fifth choice. So, it was beyond that. It was kind of havable. But, boy, that $200 horse. But it paid $40,000
I would love to
yesterday.
talk to some of these big people and their layout of
See what
it.
they're-
It intrigues me. It intrigues me very much.
I would have liked to talk to the 40,000 ticket holders yet that had the $200 horse and how they felt and what they had on the remainder of the card.
I want to know how many people the 40,000 had a single.
A single, using that as their single?
How many of them had the all button?
Yeah, that I would like to know. All right, we'll hit on some of the quick hitters as we are heading towards the end of the show here. And this one, I'm just going to tell the guys in the control room, set it up, and then I'll let you play it because I called for the audio here. This goes back to a topic we had in either our first or our second week, and part of it was Rich Grunder then. And watch the horse, watch the number 3 horse who is going to be running third.
I almost dropped my Gatorade.
He's running third. And hold on, because I want the call here.
Yes.
The 3 horse, he'll be running third, and Rich Grunder says that he misses because the rider kind of stopped running, and he does get caught for third. But it's notable here because it's only a field of 5. Eleva, the horse, the number 3 horse that is going to get caught for the show price, was the 2-to-1 third choice in a field of 5. But I looked, the trifecta pool had 34,000. It was only a field of 5, 34,000. The superfecta pool had 16,000. Clearly, this had to affect a lot of money.
Before we get, I'm going to say this as a parent. You could put an end to this in about 5 minutes in a meeting in the jocks room, and that's what bothers me so much.
That's
it would
another
take
thing.
5 minutes to end this.
Yeah, we don't know.
10 days I give this guy.
If anything happened. And overseas, you read about it all the time. But yeah,
so
so fire it up
he gets
with
10
the Rich
days
Grunder
for me.
call. Watch the number 3 and watch the rider kind of go easy late.
Path as they turn for home now. 3/16 of a mile to run. Ellie Bay is digging in gamely under the red-hot Edwin Gonzalez. From between horses, Mighty Minnie continues to grind away second, but here's Cowboy's Delight on the outside, and now she wears him down. Cowboy's Delight from the outside. De La Cruz and Wilson hooked up to win it, going away by 4. Mighty Minnie was second, very, very tight for third. GI Girl might have got up, as Gonzalez might have stood up too early in that photo.
This is almost when you're grateful you're not on the local news, that you don't get covered.
As Gonzalez might have stood up too early in that photo, and he does get caught for third.
What do you think, at the 100-yard mark, that was a little too early?
And as I say, what bugs me is also we just don't know. As I say, overseas, you see that all the time. Stewards called in a jockey and suspended him for not giving the proper effort. Over here, you never hear that. And you'd like to know this guy got called in, at least talked to. But yeah, there should be a suspension involved.
Unless that horse
if he has some kind of story
and he doesn't run for 3 months, I better find out that. But that is bad optics, and I don't understand it. I've never ridden a horse. I just do not understand riding to the line, not riding to the line.
Yeah, and again, we talked about it a few weeks ago. But
I thought Rich Grunder had a bet.
It could be, and I give credit to Rich Grunder.
Sure,
he's mentioned it a few times.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, but I found it notable just a couple of days ago. As again,
right.
we talked about this a few weeks ago. All right, just before we wrap up, Twitter this week pulled up some tweets yesterday from Marcus Hirsch. He was giving good information. He was over in Dubai, trying to get him on the show, but just couldn't connect with him. Pat Cummings was over there also. Tried both of them to talk a little Dubai, but they both had planned, just couldn't connect for us this morning. But Marcus was giving out some good information yesterday on Twitter. Peter Miller, he said he was mad that there was no starter on the gate with his horse, and that gave the horse a bad start. I watched the race a few times. I don't know. That's a straightaway sprint, and clearly you have to get off well. I didn't think he got off that badly with Richard's Boy. Wound up 5th in the race, a close-up 5th. But it was notable that, things are a little bit different over there, and he felt that cost him. Thunder Snow, again, we watched that UAE Derby later. Those 2 horses, Thunder Snow and Epicaris, may show up in the Kentucky Derby, and do note the fastest time on the Meydan Dirt. And Sumian with a good comment on Thunder Snow. Marcus Hirsch also commenting on Twitter yesterday, Saeed Ben-Sur on the Kentucky Derby for Thunder Snow. Quotes Ben-Sur as saying, he's in the race. It will be up to Sheikh Mohammed. We will see. So that one potentially in the Kentucky Derby. And I mentioned it on the handicapping show earlier. George Navarro, very unhappy with the ride on Sharp Azteca in the opener. Wound up 3rd in that race. Quoted as saying, of the jockey, you've got to be smarter than that. And earlier tweet from Marcus Hurst says, Mr. Navarro had smoke coming out of his ears. So sharp.
Two things I'll say. I think Mike Smith alluded to the fact that Eric Gate did not have anybody in the starting gate with him, and that wasn't positive. And the other thing, Sheikh Mohammed, a man of the people. Did you see him? He was trackside. He was down on the rail watching the racing.
Well, I've seen him walking around
in a non-white.
I've seen him walking around the sales grounds up in Saratoga, just in like a T-shirt and jeans.
Yes. I first saw him 33 years ago, and I will say this is the first time I saw him yesterday that I actually thought after 30 plus years he had actually finally changed a little bit. Finally. After 30 years, that picture of him in '85 was the same until yesterday for me. Great day of racing.
All right, we're going to wrap things up for this edition of And They're Off. No And They're Off next week because of the whole situation of us going down to Gulfstream for the Florida Derby. And again, we will be live from Gulfstream Friday and Saturday. Friday at 8:30, Saturday at 8 o'clock, live from Gulfstream next week. You'll be in for me on Wednesday and Thursday again.
Looking forward to
with And They're Off. So the week-long programming
continues.
Did
And They're Off get Racing Across America?
Right. Why did I say?
They said and they're off. I'm did Racing Across America get a new logo too?
New logo? No.
All right.
Because theirs was already pretty good.
Great work. Yes, it is.
All right. And they're off. Seth Merrill and Anthony Mormino. Typically, we're here every Sunday morning from 10 to 11. Again, a couple of weeks we'll be back with that. But I want to thank our friends at Gulfstream for their sponsorship of this program.
You'll be able to thank them in person.
Programming on the network. Gulfstream Park. Champions start here. Also do want to remind folks, we will have thoroughbred racing tonight. Sunland Derby will be part of that mix, but some of the other tracks also in. So on this Sunday night, there will be thoroughbred racing available all evening long. Keep that in mind for your betting pleasure on this Sunday evening. All right, anything else to toss in?
No.
Big performance yesterday.
Great day.
A wow performance yesterday. People will be talking about it all week long. All right. Wrapping things up. Again, viewer mail, if you want to make comments or suggestions, go on our Twitter feed. Comment
Please do.
there. Love to hear from you. Until then, we'll see you, Anthony will see you next Wednesday morning.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.